Hey y'all, it's your favorite model, host, content creator, and founder of Sour. It's Alia here, and we back with another YouTube video. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this YouTube video, we are gonna talk about two things. So I'm gonna give you guys a story time of how I was invited to an event and the person that invited me actually wanted my husband. And then the second thing that I'm going to talk to you guys about is my digital products. So a lot of people have been asking me like, Alia, you have 2 ebooks out. We don't know nothing about them. You don't do a lot of marketing for them. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and go into mini detail of both of my digital products that I do have out now. A lot of people are asking like, where do I find them and stuff like that. So I'll just talk about all of that in this YouTube video. So without further ado, let's get it started. Okay, so the first ebook, the first digital product that I did come out with, it was called Let's Talk About Making Islam Your Lifestyle. I'm still thinking about if I want to change the title to that, because I don't know, I don't know, I'm still thinking about that. But as of right now, that's the title of the book. It is currently about 35 pages. That's including the reference page. And so I'm just gonna give y'all like some of the table of contents. So, some of the table of contents are acknowledgements, preface, the introduction, which is Islam is perfect, Muslims are not, how to grieve the life you used to have. Like this part is especially for not just reverts, but born Muslims who, fell off of their deen and then picked up their deen later on. Masjid Etiquette, this goes for a lot of my reverts, like not even just reverts, like people who are very interested in Islam, but they want to go to the masjid, but they've never been. They have so many questions. They don't know what to wear, and just like they don't know the etiquette of it. So this page is specifically for those people. Preparing to deal with family and friends. I get a lot of questions from a lot of people who are interested in Islam asking me like, how did your family, how did your friends deal with you wanting to be Muslim? What did they do? How did they respond? And obviously everybody's experience is going to be different, but I know one thing that we do have in common is the fact that a lot of our family and friends do not take it well. I do give Quranic and Hadith proof of some of the things that I am saying, some ways that the prophets, peace be upon them, did deal with these situations and stuff like that. So, and also my personal opinion on those. One of those things that I will say dealing with my family and friends, and I talk about this a lot, is I isolated myself. Well, a lot of my followers who've been following me for a while, you know that I isolated myself. I actually moved to a whole different state on the opposite side of the world just to focus on my deen. And I do also talk about how Mufti Mink, one of the first lectures that I did watch was by Mufti Mink. And Mufti Mink did say, when you're a revert, you shouldn't rush to tell your parents that you have reverted to Islam, because it can cause like a lot of mental stuff that you're gonna be dealing with, and then that'll stop you from being on your deen. So that's some things that I did talk about there. 5 you should knows, ways to learn how to pray. So a lot of people do know that I do have an organization called Sabr of United Reverts. Sabr in Arabic, Sabr is an Arabic word, but in English it means patience. So patience with reverts, basically. I haven't been as active on the Instagram page because I got married, but I'm gonna be as active, okay? I do see the DMs and I respond to a lot of DMs that I can, but also with me even being in Senegal, it's just been a little bit harder for me to network in the United States and things like that. So, but don't worry, I have not forgotten about y'all. So the ways to learn how to pray, I created that entire guide for Sabr of United Reverts, and there's a document in the link on the bio of that page that you can download this as well. So we went through a whole guide. We made sure that an imam did check everything, but obviously you're praying 5 times a day, so I know how to put it on there how to pray 5 times a day. You know what I'm saying? These things are culture, not religion. So y'all, when I created this ebook, I was about a year and 2 months, I think. A year and a month when I uploaded this thing. When I tell y'all, if I could go back and change it now, I could, but if I go back and change it now, I would add so many more things on here that is culture and not religion, especially because I did marry into a Senegalese family. So I do have a lot more knowledge on some stuff that I could put on there. But the things that I put in this content and in that content, those are things that are really common in the Islamic community that I heard like within my first year of me being Muslim. And I was like, that is not Islam. Like, that is your culture and you need to fix it. And so I put that section on there specifically for my reverts. I really, because when you first revert to Islam, it's really easy for you to get caught up in different cultures and not know which one is which. But I also put that on there for born Muslims, because a lot of things that you were born believing and you were like taught being raised, those things are culture and they're not religion. And you're spreading those things to other people. And I don't want anybody to be misguiding other people when the things are Islam. So if people are advising you of something, if you've never heard of that advice that they have given you, you could say, thank you, alhamdulillah, thank you so much, I'll work on it. And then just go research and see if it's a hadith. See if you can find the surah in the Quran, and just make sure you verify that hadith is 100% authentic. Here's some reassurances for you, journal prompts. Okay, journal prompts. When I first reverted to Islam, I didn't really have a lot of people to talk to about things that I was going through or things that I was feeling. So I journaled a lot. I journaled a lot to God. I journaled a lot to myself, to my mom, to people who, helped me, people who hurt me, and things like that. I also wrote down a lot of things that I learned within being a Muslim. Like, a lot of times people ask me all the time, like, Alia, how you know, mashallah, Allahumma barik, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How you be doing that, Alia? And it's so funny because it's like, when you when you really write things down, maybe it's different for y'all, but for me, like, I write things down, and when I hear them, I'm like, oh, I heard that word before, and I go back and I'm like, okay, this is the meaning of that. One thing to know the Arabic words to things, but if you don't know the meaning of it, it's like that connection is just not there. So I put some journal prompts that I use personally, and just some that I know that some of my friends have used, and it has been really, really good for them. Islamic life hacks. Honestly, maybe this one is my favorite page. It's so crazy. I'm definitely coming out with a part 2. Don't tell nobody. I'm definitely coming out with with this book, but a part 2. And I'll add even more life hacks, because like I said, when I launched this book, I was a year and 1 month. That's when I launched it. But I started writing it it took me 4 months to produce this, and it would have taken me longer if I would have finished part 1 and part 2, but I was like, okay, it's long, let me just go ahead and release part 1. So like I said, I have a lot more things that I can add. If you know some Islamic life hacks, you can always DM them to me, but I definitely prefer you email them to me, and I'll make sure that I add them in the second part of the ebook. The last 3 subtitles are going to be about the author, the glossary, and the references. I saw a comment the other day that was like, don't buy her digital products, go buy books from a real scholar, a real imam. And I want to clarify something for people who do have this mentality. As a revert, we have a lot of experience in a lot of things. We learn things a little bit faster because we're actually really intentional about what we're learning about, what we're focusing about. And not only that, a lot of my digital products are my life experiences, how I overcame them, and what surahs, hadiths, and stories of which prophet, peace be upon them, helped me overcome them. So it's not necessarily like, oh, I need to be an imam, oh, I need to be a sheikh. but everything that I am providing for y'all, if it's not my personal experience, what I did personally, then I am going to source it, make sure it's authentic, or I'm gonna talk to one of my sheikhs or one of my imams. So I just want to clarify that for my Egg Nation people, because I know a lot of y'all have bought this ebook. I really appreciate you so much. I want to tell you guys something. I have a little surprise here. So I did come out with a second digital product, and this one is 75 marital questions that you can ask a potential spouse. And I will go into detail about that. But I just want to say, for any of my Egg Nation people or any of my supporters in general who have bought my first ebook, I want to give you a 50% off code for the second digital product that I do have. So please, if you have bought my first ebook, my first digital product, comment and say purchased. I don't know, just say purchased #1, something like that. And I'll go and check and make sure you have, and I'll send you a message for your email, and I'll email you the code. So please, please, please do that, because I'm really grateful. I'm so happy that a lot of y'all have purchased this book. A lot of y'all have read it, and y'all have told me your thoughts on it. So I really, really appreciate that. I wasn't as open in my ebook as I wanted to be, because I wanted to see how people would respond to it. But in my second one, I'll be a little bit more open. I will, drop a few gems that that I have never shared with people, and stuff like that. So yeah, if you have not purchased this ebook, I hope that you do, because if you don't need it, somebody else that you might encounter might need it. The preface is so long. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I think it's like 2 pages. But in the preface, I just make sure that I tell y'all. Actually, I'll just read the first part. So, dear reader, if this book has reached your eyes, know that my intention is not to shield you from the challenge of loneliness you may experience as a new Muslim. In fact, I had no idea that my Christian upbringing would prepare me to be a steadfast Muslim. When I first reverted to Islam, I searched high and low for the information I've included in this book, but it was nowhere to be found. Dang, why did everybody disappear after I took my Shahada? How do I make friends? No one could realistically tell me how to break the news to my Christian mother that I wanted to revert to Islam, or how to occupy my time instead of partying. Okay? And it's really, really, really so long. So, in the last part, I don't want to downplay how difficult this transition can be. Perhaps not in the beginning or the middle, but it will be. And when it is, you'll have this book to look back on. Know that you are not alone. Making Islam your lifestyle, unsugarcoded, is what I would have wanted when I started to study Islam, because the reality is far from a bed of roses. I hope this brings you some ease. With love, Alia Reeves. Okay, so let's get straight into it. 75 key questions to ask your potential spouse and more. Okay, so let me read the preface to y'all, okay? But before I do that, if you have purchased this digital product, thank you. This one was a little bit different from the other one. Like, honestly, this one is like completely different. But for this one, a lot of y'all did get discount codes. So thank you guys for commenting on the Instagram page if you did. And I hope you really enjoyed this digital product that I personally use for my husband. And yeah, I gathered these questions just like based off of my my childhood traumas and things like that, and just like from my friends who are married. So yeah, let me go ahead and read the preface for y'all, okay? So the preface says, when considering a future spouse, it is important to engage in meaningful conversations that help you understand each other's values, goals, and compatibility. Many of these things may seem straightforward or even confrontational, but they are hard questions you should want to ask before you get married to a person. My personal advice is that when you're asking questions via text, in person, or on the phone, the objective is to listen to their answers. Ensure that both partners feel comfortable expressing their thoughts and their feelings. It's exciting to speak with someone for the sake of marriage. I know y'all be excited. I know, okay? Allow your excitement to overshadow your own judgment. Most importantly, please remember that nobody is perfect. No one is perfect. And yes, that includes you. Me too, okay? Me too. A marriage is two people working together to make life fun, easy, and worthwhile until you're forever in the akara. With that being said, don't be so quick to say, no, I disagree, but attempt to see the other person's point of view. Approach these conversations with respect and an open heart. Be patient with each other as you navigate these important topics. Engaging in these discussions not only strengthens your relationship, but also fosters individual growth. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I have created a list of essential marital questions to ask a brother/sister when seeking him or her as a future spouse. Many of these questions were created from my own personal childhood traumas and life experiences, so I hope many are useful to you as well. I pray that Allah grants you the ability to complete the other half of your deen with the person who is written for you. Be intentional, be mindful, be respectful, and be you. Ali Reeves. Okay. So yeah, that's it. Talk about table of contents. Let's get into it. Like already quick with it. First part of this ebook is let's get straight to it. The first part of the questions, the caption, the title, let's get straight to it. Whether you're using a marriage app, were introduced, or met in person. These basic questions are the first step to assess the marriage intentions of the other person. No, you don't have to ask them in the order that I put them, but feel free to get straight to the point, okay? Hence the title. So a few of these are just like, how old are you? Where were you born? Do you have a college degree? Do you have a job? If you want to ask them how much money they make, you can ask them what's their salary or whatever. You can ask those, but these are questions that right off bat you want to ask, and if you don't get the answer that you want, okay, maybe you can do a follow-up question instead, or you could say, honestly, you didn't respond the way that I wanted you to respond to these questions, so I'm gonna just be cool off of you. You get what I'm saying? Like, y'all can say that. I'm gonna ask them, have you been married before? Have you ever gotten a divorce? Have you been engaged before? For a lot of people, so for reverts, I want to specify this for those of you who are not born Muslim. And this came from my imam, this came from sheikhs, this came from scholars that I follow on Instagram. If a man asks you about your intimacy before you were Muslim, you do not have to respond. In that case, it's valid for you to lie. If you want to lie, you can lie. Me personally, the answer should be, that's none of your business. Unfortunately, not even a sorry, that's none of your business, but that's none of your business. Because whatever I did before I was Muslim does not concern you. Actually, it don't even concern me no more because Allah forgave me for it. So when it comes to reverts, if you do want to ask that girl or that man that is a born Muslim about if they have been sexually active with a person, you can ask them that, because as a born Muslim, zina should not ever be something that comes out of your mouth. I'm not judging anybody, but that was something that I personally did ask my husband, because you are a born Muslim, so the expectation is a lot higher than when it comes to me, because Allah forgave me for whatever it is that I did before I became Muslim. So if you want to ask that question, you are 110% entitled to. You want to make sure you ask them, does your family know that you're looking for marriage? Okay, if you are somebody who is trying to have an interracial marriage, ask them how do your family feel that I'm Pakistani, that I'm white, that I'm Arab, that I'm black? How does your family feel about that? Are they racist? Like, y'all have to really get straight into it, because if you don't get straight into it, you're gonna be talking to somebody for 4 months and then they have no intention of ever marrying you, and then you wasted your time, and now you done went through your first heartbreak. And don't come back and say, well, Ali, I should listen to Ali. I was telling y'all should listen to me, but y'all wasn't listening. Okay, so next we have core values. So core values are the beliefs that shape how you and your partner navigate life together. They build trust and respect, making it easier to face challenges hand in hand. When we're aligned on those values, it helps us connect on a deeper level and face challenges as a team. Your core values shouldn't change because somebody doesn't agree with them. Okay, so be you. So I would just say, like, one of my favorite questions in core values, and I Y'all, I'm not even joking. This is my favorite question. As a woman, one question that I did ask my husband is, if I'm not able to have children, would you want to marry somebody else? Would you want to adopt, or would you want a divorce? Now, some people might be like, oh, Leah, what? And I'm like, no, because you literally never know. I would rather ask this question before I marry you than me not knowing anything, and then boom, I can't have no children, and then you tell me, well, it's my right to have somebody else to have my children. You know what I'm saying? So that honestly is my favorite question, because you do get to see like what his intention is when it comes to marriage. Like, does this person just want to have children? Does this person actually want a life partner? Does this person want a best friend? So that's like one of my favorite questions. When it comes to like a more gender neutral question, what taught you patience, and how important is that for you? If my husband would have asked me this question before we got married, maybe he would have married me, because I know I'm very impatient. But my husband is patient enough for both of us. Like, he's very calm, very patient, very gentle. So hey, look, it works out for both of us. Okay. Our next one is gender roles and cultural views. The gender roles and cultural views questions are very vital for building trust and understanding. These conversations help you both clarify your needs and avoid future conflicts, okay? Ensuring that you're on the same page for a successful marriage. So religion questions. I don't really have to explain that. Y'all know, like, you should be asking them, like, how often do you go to the masjid? If you are a masjid girly like me, you should want to know those questions. How often do you recite Quran? And just like, simple things like that. I know a lot of people were saying like, oh, praying 5 times a day is the bare minimum. It's not the bare minimum. It's not. I'm gonna say this, like, coming from somebody that wasn't a born Muslim and that is now like married. Praying 5 times a day is big, because when I am like really stressed and struggling with something, or like really low on my iman, it's really hard for me to pray. Like, it literally feels like a chore. And my husband don't play that. Like, my husband be like, get up. Or if he leaves and he come back, he like, did you pray? And I'm like, I'm so embarrassed to even say no. You know what I'm saying? So praying 5 times, having a partner that prays 5 times a day is not the bare minimum. It's actually really, really big, and it's beneficial for you, that other person, and y'all's marriage together. Okay, so I know one of my friends was asking me to put these 2 up in there, so I added them. So I put Islamically the role of a husband, and Islamically the role of a wife. That goes without being said. Y'all already know what a D. Because you literally cannot be married and not know your rights, responsibility. You can't know. Because why is men trying to tell people, oh, if you don't cook and clean, I'm gonna get a second wife? First of all, it's my right to not want to cook and clean. If I want to cook and clean, I will, but I don't have to. You can get a second, third, or fourth, but you don't have to. It's not something that's like Allah was like mandatory. Make sure you have second, third, and fourth. Communication questions, because that is super, super important. You want to make sure you have somebody who knows how to communicate, okay? Communication is the heart of a lasting marriage. And a lot of people was giving me that advice when I first did get married. Family questions. Talking about family before marriage is super, super important, because it helps understand each other's background and what you both value. It can really strengthen your bond and make sure you're on the same page for the future. If you are a person that is family oriented, you might marry somebody that's family oriented, or you might marry somebody that's not family oriented. Either way it go, you should be self-aware to know which one of those persons you are and what it is that you want from the person that you are marrying. Praying ISTAKARA. ISTAKARA is key when you're talking to somebody. So I did put how to properly pray ISTAKARA in there. It's just 2 rakats, and then there's a dua for ISTAKARA, and I put that in there for you guys. Marriage and love duas for you. So I did find like 2 marriage/love duas that were, I think, hadiths. or in the Quran. I found them from Omar Salaman, and then I put some du'as that I have used myself, specifically myself. Okay, so get my man. How to pray tahajjud. Tahajjud, if you really, really want something, you will get up at the third of the night and pray tahajjud for it. You will be very specific. So I did put a guide on there of how to pray tahajjud. So you have that in there as well. Letter to a revert from a revert. That goes without being said. I love my reverts down bad. I know that probably when I hit like 20 years of being Muslim, people gonna be like, oh yeah, you're a Muslim, you're not a revert. I'm still a revert. I'm still, okay? And I'm gonna do whatever I can for my reverts, okay? And then why is a wali important? For my reverts. For my reverts. You cannot marry somebody if you do not have a wali. A wali is a guardian, and that is put into place to make sure you do not marry somebody that does not have your best interest at heart. Marriage is going to be hard for you because you might not have anybody to talk to about it. That's why talking about family, it's really, really important, because when you are marrying somebody that is Muslim, you're marrying into a Muslim family that you do not have. So you just want to make sure that you're marrying into the right family, okay? So why is having a wali important? How can you find a wali, and things like that? One thing that I will say when you are looking for a wali is make sure that that man knows you. In order for somebody to be a wali, he has to be a man, and he has to be Muslim. Make sure that he knows you, because your wali's job is to vet these men. A lot of people are like, oh, I have a wali, but he doesn't look for me a husband. A lot of them don't. They are here for you to, when you find somebody, you bring them to them and they vet that person. That's what most of the walis are here for. They're not going to waste their time and look for you a husband, because honestly, they just don't really have the time. And I feel like we're not really their daughters, so that's not their prime responsibility to do that. So when you have a wali, just make sure that that person knows you, knows your requirements of what you want in a husband, and make sure that they have your best interests at heart. But also judge their character. If your wali has 4 wives, don't expect him to bring you a person that you only want 1 wife. If your wali is known in the community to abuse women, don't expect him to find you a husband or give you a husband that feel like, oh, they want to take that little section in the Quran that say you can hit your wife if they're disobedient. Don't expect that. So do judge your wali's character as well, because that will be a reflection of what he allows to you for a man to have, okay? Last but not least, we have words of encouragement and final remarks from me. So I did add some words of encouragement, because I do know marriage is very difficult but very common topic to talk about, and I see a lot of Muslims say like we need to stop talking about that, but it's like we don't need to stop talking about marriage, but we need to talk about how to sustain successful marriages. We need to talk about like how do we communicate? How do I ask these people like questions? What do I do when I have a problem? So those are things that we really need to talk about, and that'll probably come in a part 2 book that I write, but give me about 5 years to be happily, inshallah, and then I'll come back with that. But as of right now, these questions are very important for people who are talking to somebody minimum, what is it? Minimum 1 week, maximum 1 month. Okay? Maximum, because y'all supposed to be getting straight into it quick. So those are my 2 digital products that I wanted to just go into detail about with everybody, because I know a lot of people have been asking me about them. Where can you find them? So if you go to Instagram and put in my ad, whether it's on TikTok or YouTube, when you click it, click beacons where it says Alia. It should say everything about Alia on all platforms. Once you click that link, it's going to show you everything, and you'll be able to shop all of my products. Right now, the Making Islam Your Lifestyle is 12% off. But once you pay and you put all of your information in, it'll send you an email with a PDF of the ebook. You can find all of my digital products in every single link, in every single social media platform that I have, in the link in the bio. So it is, I do use beacons as of right now. I'm probably gonna put them on Shopify. As of right now, I am trying to get them on Amazon. They're all digital. If y'all will want a paper version, comment and tell me. Put them as paper versions just because I feel like a lot of people use digital. So, but yeah, if you want a paper version, please comment and let me know. Let me think. But yeah, so they're gonna be in the links of my bio. On Instagram, y'all know my Instagram at, my YouTube at, it's here, and even on my TikTok. So yeah, every link that you ever need, any communication that you ever need is gonna be in the links in my bio. Or you can also just go on Google and type in these things, 75 key questions to ask potential spouse by Alia Reeves. And then yeah, it'll pop up for you guys. Okay, last but entirely not least, let me give y'all a story time, okay? And I'm not gonna be, the story is not so long. I'm actually gonna shorten it up just because I do want to talk about this. So maybe like a week ago, I was invited to embroidery class, and I did like post on my on my TikTok video that I went to this like embroidery event, right? So the person who like is the owner of the embroidery class or whatever like that, they sent me they sent me 2 DMs from the business account, the personal, and they sent me an email, right? So I tell the girl, I'm like, okay, I'm coming, I'm gonna bring my husband. Y'all know, if y'all follow me on TikTok, y'all know I am not allowed to go anywhere without my husband. And it's not because he's insane. He's very overprotective. I don't speak the language out here. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all I don't have a phone. Like, I have a phone, but like, you know what I'm saying? When the stuff went on with my people, they turned my phone off from the States. So you know, I haven't been able to turn it on. I already know I'm gonna turn it on here, inshallah, later on, but whatever, right? So she invited me to the thing. I tell the girl, you know, I'm gonna come with my husband, right? Y'all, tell me why. Tell me why. I'm thinking it's just a person that you know follow, that see me on Instagram, and you know what I'm saying, she see I've been going out in Senegal, so she want to invite me or whatever, right? No, the girl know me from TikTok. We first go to the embroidery class, and it's cool. It's cool. Like, she seemed cool. She's a hijabi. She's nice. Like, we doing the little da-da-da-da-da-da, right? I had just talked to my husband prior about, like, you know, some Senegalese women just like asking me really, really personal questions. Y'all probably like, Ali always got a story. Okay, anyway, so we go to the event or whatever, and my husband's sitting there. He just accompanying me. Like, he's like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't had no choice but to go because I wanted to go. So he's there, he's drawing, he's like on his phone, whatever, right? And so the girl, I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying, we supposed to be really talking about like embroidery or like, you know, my life, whatever. So the girl, she asking me real personal questions. She's asking me questions that like people have asked me on TikTok, but I've never like answered. So she's like, oh, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 23. And she's like, oh, wow, you're really young. And so I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm getting the vibe that like she was being very condescending. That's what it is. She was being very condescending. So after she asked me like what was my age and everything, every single thing else that she said, like trying to make me seem like I was small. I don't know. So for example, this, right? So after I said I was 23 or whatever, she was teaching me like how to tie a knot or whatever, right? And so I was trying to do it in the very specific way of how she told me to do it. So I was like, she tied it with 3 fingers, but I tied a knot with 2 fingers. But I've never done embroidery before, so I was like, okay, how do I tie this knot the way that you tied it? So she looked at my husband and she's like, she don't know how to tie a knot? And so I look at her, I'm like, I know how to tie a knot, but I was trying to do it the way that you said it. So I was confused. Okay, that was number 1. Second, my husband was sitting there, he was drawing, writing, all the type of stuff. He was drawing my like image or whatever. And so she was like, wow, like you're so talented. Like, oh my gosh, your art is so nice. And I'm just like sitting there and I'm like, I'm like, huh? Like, it was just too much going on, right? And so we're doing the embroidery, and she asked me, okay, so how did y'all meet? And so when she said that, I'm looking at my husband like, I'm like, maybe he just gonna, I don't know, switch the subject or something. I don't know. But he was like, I was like, should we tell her? And he was like, yeah, we should tell her. So I'm trying to make the story really small because I haven't, came out publicly on TikTok or anything with that story. And so what's it called? So I tell her the story like minimal. And she's like, oh my God, I have chills. Like, he seems like and she look at him and she's like, you seem like a really amazing person, and da 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 da. And so I'm like, okay, Alia, maybe you being toxic. Maybe you need to calm down. It's not that serious, right? Boom, boom. I'm trying to make this story so quick. So yeah, I'm chopping up some parts and whatever, right? And so after that happens, make a long story short, after that happens, my husband gets up and he goes to the bathroom. And so she tells me, she's like, if you need any friends out here to go out with, like, you and your husband, you can invite me out and stuff like that. I'll be your friend. You can send me a text message. You can call me or whatever. Like, I'll be there for you. And I was like, yeah, yeah. Because sometimes it's a little bit lonely with like all of his friends or whatever, right? So we get to the part in our story where I'm like, yeah, so I basically just text my friend and was like, hey, I'm looking for a husband. Can you send me one? And he, sent me Aline. And she was like, oh, maybe I need to, she was like, oh yeah, maybe I need to just do that for my friends to let them like find me a husband. And so when she said that, I was like, oh, in my mind, I was like, oh, so now she like letting us know that she not married, okay? Anyway, make a long story short, towards the end, she asks him, for his Instagram. She gives like us like shirts, like our 2 shirts or whatever. And what's it called? She gives us our shirts. She's like, yeah, I have gifts for y'all. She gives us shirts, whatever, boom, boom. He puts on the shirt later on, like in the day, or I think the next day, and like he posts a video like with us out in the shirt. And she sends him a message on Instagram and she's like, oh, you look so nice in the shirt. Could you send me like some pictures of you with the shirt on and stuff like that so I can post them on my brand page? Mind y'all, I was invited. I didn't get a follow-up DM. Thank you, Alia, for coming. Blah, 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 blah. I didn't get, hey, can you send me some pictures? Can you, nothing. So that's the story. The story is done. But I wanted to tell that story because it was something that was very, very uncomfortable for me. It was something that I realized to why a lot of people don't post their marital spouses. Even then, even if she didn't know his like face or anything like that, that still interaction could have happened to anybody, and it was just rude and it was very disrespectful. And it was something that like I appreciate that it happened because it allows me to know what to do more in those situations, but also it helps my husband to be able to identify certain things that women do, and you're just not aware of it, because that has never happened to me ever in my life, okay? And I don't think I know any stories of people that has happened to. So yeah, if y'all wonder why I haven't had no meet and greet, that's why. If y'all wonder why I don't be going out and I don't be texting nobody back, that's why, because people be messing it up for other people. I hope you guys love this YouTube video. Make sure you subscribe, send it to your mama, your sister, and your grandmama. Comment, tell me what you guys think about my digital products. And yeah, if you have any other questions, I'm here. Love you guys. Ciao, bisous, bye.